It hurts. Down there too, she whispered. The rancher pulled it back and froze Western stories. Asterisk, the crack of a rifle split the dawn like a thunderbolt over the Spinifex plains, shattering the hush that blanketed Ironbark Station. Jack Callahan, folks call me Ironbark for the way I've weathered every drought and dust storm this godforsaken outback throws. Felt the hairs on my neck stand up. Someone was hunting me, and I didn't even know why. My brumbies snorted beneath me, boots crusted with that blood-red dust that clings like a bad memory. My Colt revolver weighing heavy on my hip like an old grudge. A second shot whistled past my ear, close enough to singe the brim of my hat. My heart pounded like a mob of wild brumbies stampeding through my chest. I spurred my horse into the scrub, branches whipping at my face, cursing under my breath. Who the hell was out here gunning for me? Some bastard from the goldfields with a score to settle. I followed the echo, weaving through the ghost gums, their pale trunks twisting like ghosts in the early light. That's when I found her, half buried in the parched earth, clawing at the dirt beneath a gnarled ghost gum. A woman lay there, her riding skirt soaked dark with blood. Her breaths came in ragged gasps, lips cracked from the sun. She looked up at me with eyes wild as a cornered dingo and whispered, "It hurts." Down there too, my gut twisted. I knelt, my calloused fingers hesitating before lifting the torn fabric. What I saw froze me, Salida, jagged gash, slicing from her hip to her inner thigh, blackening with infection. It wasn't from a fall. No, this was deliberate, carved by a man's cruel hand, like a brand on cattle. Who could do this to a woman? Rage boiled in me, hot as the midday sun, but I shoved it down. She needed help, not my fury. Before I could react, a bushranger's whistle shrilled from the ridge above. 3 riders thundered down, rifles glinting in the rising sun-hard men with scarred faces and eyes like cold steel. Danger hit like a gut punch. These were the shooters, and now they were after us both. I scooped her up, her body light as a lamb but trembling with pain, bullets kicking up dust at our heels. We bolted for the dry creek bed, my brumby leaping over rocks as I held her tight, whispering, "Hang on, darlin'. I got you." In the shade of a coolabah tree, I laid her down gently, pressing my neckerchief to the wound to staunch the blood. "Name's Jack," I murmured, my voice low and steady, though my mind raced. She murmured back, "Lila." Leela McRae, before fever pulled her under like a riptide. Night fell fast out here, stars pricking the black sky like a million pinpoints of hope. I built a small fire, boiled billy water, and cleaned the gash with whiskey from my saddlebag. She screamed into my shoulder, her nails digging into my arm, and damn if it didn't break something in me. I'd seen mates die in the Eureka Stockade, bodies torn by lead. But this intimate violation stirred a protectiveness I hadn't felt since losing my ma to the fever years back. As the lantern glow painted shadows on the bark, I threaded a needle carved from dingo bone, sweat dripping down my brow. Dingoes howled just beyond the fire's circle, their cries echoing my own inner turmoil. Stitch by stitch, I closed the wound, my hands steady from years breaking horses, but my heart ached with unspoken questions. Who was she? Why me, finding her like this? Each pull of the thread felt like mending more than flesh, like fate was weaving us together in this harsh land. Dawn brought fresh hell, boot prints circling our camp. Those bushrangers hadn't quit. As Lila stirred, A rattlesnake coiled between her and the water canteen, fangs bared. My Colt barked point blank, the shot echoing like thunder, snake's head exploding in a spray. Lila woke fully then, cheeks flaming with shame over the wound's location. "Don't look," she begged, tears mixing with dust. My voice came out gravel rough, but laced with the honey of reassurance I'd learned from the old shearers. "Ain't nothin' shameful 'bout surviving, love. I've seen worse on the goldfieldsman carved up worse than this." Her eyes met mine, and in that moment, something sparked, a flicker of trust amid the pain. I carried her fireman style across the salt bush, the homestead 10 miles away through the gibber plains. Her warmth against my back, stirring feelings I thought the outback had dried up in me. But trouble dogged us. A sudden flash flood roared down the dry gully, brown water churning like a beast awakened. I scrambled up a termite mound, Lila clinging to my neck, her breaths hot against my ear as the torrent swallowed our tracks. "Don't let go," I growled, holding her like she was the only thing worth saving in this wild country. At the homestead, I turned the old shearer's quarters into a Old Tom, my grizzled foreman with a limp from a bad bronco, helped fetch supplies, muttering about women bringing trouble. I bathed her fevered skin, changed poultices of emu oil and wattle bark. Watching her delirium reveal horrors, her brother sold her to a squatter for mining claims. The fall a brutal branding to mark her as property. My fists clenched. The Colt felt like an extension of my rage. We had to move 400 head to the railhead or lose the station. Lila insisted on riding shotgun in the chuck wagon, her spirit fierce despite the pain. Halfway, bushrangers led by a scar-faced brute named Red, Kelly stampeded the herd over a cliff. Chaos erupted, cattle thundering into the void, dust choking the air. I roped a steer, swinging Lila to safety just as the ground gave way beneath us. That night, under a billion stars, she traced the scar on my ribs from Eureka. "Scars are maps," I told her softly, my thumb brushing her hand. "Yours'll lead you home to wherever your heart says it is." But betrayal struck closer. Our traitor, Cook, sneaky-eyed Billy from the coast, spiked the damper with arsenic. Lila's quick taste saved me, but she collapsed, lips turning blue. Panic clawed at me losing her now. No, I rode hell for leather to the Aboriginal camp, begging the Ngonkari, wise old Mary with eyes like ancient ochre, for an antidote, spinifex resin and witchy crub serum. As I forced it down Lila's throat, her hand squeezed mine weakly, and I prayed to whatever gods watched over this land that this wasn't the end. Not when something deeper than survival was blooming between us, raw and real as the outback itself.